Today we're going to show you how to apply Mossy Oak graphics to your favorite hunting boat. We've got a 14-foot typical duck boat. We're going to go through all the steps and procedures to do a camouflage application of this boat. First thing you want to do is make sure the boat is of the right temperature. So basically you're looking at somewhere between 60 and 95 degrees. So once you have your boat warm or cooled down to that temperature, you're ready to start the preparation. The one thing you want to do is make sure the boat is clean. So you go through with soap and water and wash the boat completely. And once that's completed, then you can take a wax and grease remover and go over the entire boat. The other thing you want to look at is the texture of the paint or the condition of the paint. A lot of times old hunting boats have an oxidation issue with the paint. One of the ways you can tell that is by wiping it with a clean paper towel. You'll get green paint on your paper towel. You want to make sure that you continually clean your boat until that paper towel is not turning the color of your paint anymore. The other thing is the texture of the boat. So as you're wiping the boat off, if that paper towel is starting to disintegrate, like you're rubbing sandpaper, you're going to want to have to go back with a little, like a Scotch-Brite pad or one of the sanding blocks, just a light sandpaper, and actually smooth the side of the boat. So once you've got that completed, the washing of the boat is very important. You want to make sure you cover every nook and cranny of this boat. Wash it well with soap and water. And one of the things you want to do before you start is apply some 3M94 primer to it. And what this does is it just promotes the adhesion along the rivets and the edges of the boats. The other thing you might want to do is pull some of the handles off of the boat. If there's things in your way like decals, you'll have to remove those. Once again, all it takes is a little bit of heat and you can pull those decals off and you can replace those later after you're done with your application. Now all our boat kits come in various sizes. We've got all kinds of different packages depending on the size of your boat. So just pick the one that's right for you and you'll be ready to get started. And once you've got your boat all prepped, you've got your primer on, now you've got a pre-cut piece, one for each side of the boat. Just unroll your piece and level it up, and get it where you want it. Make sure you've got all the sides and the corners all covered. And then just take some masking tape and just tape it into place. Now that you have your vinyl in place on the side of the boat, you want to create a hinge point. The best place to do this is where the boat begins to narrow in the front. So about midway the boat, just look at the side gunnels and where that boat begins to narrow down, just put a hinge there. And really a hinge is all, but it's just a couple, 3 pieces of masking tape. And once you've got your piece lined up and hinged, just take it loose from the back of the boat, bring it all the way to the front of the boat, and you'll actually pull the material apart from the paper backing. So it's best if you have 2 guys to do this. You can do it by yourself, but it's a lot easier if someone else is helping you. So you'll hold the material in the front, and the other guy can pull the paper backing off down to where the hinge point is on your boat. And then just take a pair of scissors and tear it and cut that backing off. And once again, the beauty of the repositionable part of this cast vinyl system is if you put this down on your boat and it's not where you want it, you can just pull it back loose again and put it down a second time. And you can pull the front loose, do the same thing with the front that you did with the rear of the boat, and lay the front piece up. And once you've got your material laid on there and you've attached it to the rib, you want to work from that center point down and you want to work from the center point up. So what we're doing here is just working that material from that center of the rib of the boat down to the bottom. You can pull the material loose and that creates a little more workability on the bottom edge of that rib. Then we'll come back and do our trimming. And one of the things, if you've got a riveted boat, a lot of boats anymore are welded, but if you've got a riveted boat, you want to go in around those rivets with your heat gun, apply heat around that rivet, and then work your squeegee around the rivet in the perimeter. And what you're doing is you're eliminating that air pocket around there. Occasionally you'll get an air bubble right around the base of that rivet. And you can easily take a pin and put a small hole in it, and then working around that rivet with some heat, the material will just conform right around the head of the rivet. Now, as you're applying the material, if you do run across a wrinkle or a place on the boat, it's not the end of the world. You just pull the material back a little bit and squeegee a little more. So what we're doing here is we're trimming off the excess at the bottom of the gunnel of the boat. So find that rib and that edge right there and just use that as your guide and your trim line. You can move right along that edge easily with your utility knife and trimming the product off. All right, now that we're back to the back end of our boat, we're going to secure the material down to the back edge. But what you want to do, since you're putting it on your duck boat, we want you to trim the edge back away from the corner. So basically just come in with your utility knife and use you can use your middle finger kind of as your guide. And what you want to do is cut 1/4 to 1/2 inch away from that edge. We also want you to do that same cut along the bottom of the entire boat. And what this will do is keep the edge from being caught by rocks or ice as you travel across the water in your boat. And what we've done too is we've decided to just bring a straight cut line across from the bottom of the welded plates on the corner of the boat. So we've just laid up some masking tape here, and when we lay the vinyl over top of it, that'll create a line that we can visually see and follow as we do our cut, and it'll just make a nice clean edge to it. So we've got our pre-cut transom piece. Pretty simple application. You just pull the backing off, line the vinyl up with the back of the boat. You've got a little bit of extra on the top and the bottom. Secure it, squeegee it down, and trim to fit. All right, now in the back of the boat, there's actually a bolt where this corner bracing is bolted through the transom of the boat. And this piece sticks out probably 1/2 inch. So what we're going to do here is we're actually just going to heat around that rivet like we did the other ones. But instead of leaving the material over the top, we're actually just going to cut a circle around it and actually remove that material from around that head of that bolt. Now, one of the things you want to do is you want to come back with what's called post-heat, which is unique to this type of vinyl. Since Mossy Oak Graphics is the only graphics that are produced with cast vinyl in the outdoor industry, this vinyl starts as a liquid. It's developing a new memory in itself, so it stays in those recessed areas. And once you're completely finished with your boat application, you come in with an edge sealer. And basically this is a product that just seals the edges of this vinyl down so that it can make it through all the harsh ice and rough weather conditions that you're going to encounter when you're out there duck hunting and waterfowl hunting. Well, we've got our boat completed, and the transformation's amazing. I mean, we've taken just your average John boat, and now we've got a great looking waterfowl hunting machine. So now we're going to do the motor, and it's really going to put the whole package together. We're starting our application for our outboard motor. The first thing you want to do is take your wax and grease remover and go over all the parts you're going to camouflage really well. There's a lot of oil and residues off of the outboard motor, so you want to pay close attention to getting all the nooks and crannies clean on this. So once you have the motor clean, you've got it all degreased and cleaned up, then you want to go back with your 94 primer and do all the recessed areas and edges. And like we said before, less is more. Just a little bit. You can use your finger to kind of spread it around a little bit, give it 5 minutes to dry, and you're ready to go. Well, now we've got our motors clean, the primer's on, and we're ready to start our application process. The outboard motor kit is 4 sizes, and we've made this motor kit big enough for a 2 or a 4 stroke. We have an older motor here, so we've got a little extra material to work with, and that's fine. You can always have a little extra. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the back of the motor, then we're going to work our way to the side pieces, and then we're going to finish in the front, and then finish finally on the top of the motor. And the reason you want to do this is that your seams will be overlapping in a way that works best for the weather conditions. When you're working with this back piece, obviously you want to come around the edge a little bit. You know, you're going to have an overlap, and we'll show you how to hide that seam. All right, now once you've moved around to the side piece, there's a little trick here, and you can use this anytime you're putting Mossy Oak Graphics on. If you take your scissors and make an irregular edge instead of a straight edge, once that camouflage is laid down, it virtually disappears. We're just demonstrating how you can see that wave. Now we're going to show you what happens once you lay it down. So you're basically just going to take your squeegee and you're going to lay that cut back down, and you absolutely cannot see where those 2 pieces have come together. As you're putting the side piece on, there's typically a rubber, basically a gasket that fits the hood onto the lower unit of the motor. So what you want to do is just trim along the edge of that gasket and then pull that piece off and start down below it where the paint starts again. And then on sharp contours like this is applying some heat with the heat gun to get that material to do what you want. So as we're finishing up our motor here, you know, the last piece is your lower unit. And you basically you'll do your lower unit just like you do any other part. You're just going to apply the graphics with squeegee, trim out with your knife. Once you get that done, you don't have to worry about covering up your motor anymore. You can just pull up to your duck spot, get out and go hunting. We've got our boat all completed. The motor, the boat, what a transformation. You can't hardly believe this was the same boat we started with just a few minutes ago. You know, the product is easy to apply. It's maintenance free. You can take it out hunting. Don't worry about it. Use it like you would if it was any other boat. After you're all through and the installation's complete, you want to go back with heat from your heat gun and firm pressure with your squeegee all over the graphics. And what this will do is this will help set the graphics, and it'll create a new memory to ensure proper adhesion. After your project's complete, you want to keep the product in 60 degrees or warmer for as long as possible after the application. At least 12 hours is ideal before exposing it to either cold or wet climates. This will help strengthen the graphics bond to the surface. Make sure you review our tips and tricks video section to learn more about helpful installation techniques. Contact our customer service department at 888-449-6558 for further application support. We've got a website loaded with all kinds of different products for your guns, boats, ATVs, golf carts, all kinds of accent packages for your vehicle, full wraps, window graphics. Go to the website and see what all we've got. I'm sure there's something there you'd love to have. I want to thank you for joining us and hope you enjoyed our production.